It's a pleasure to have you guys on. I was recently put into contact with you. Obviously, this story has been going around the country. The UC Homes in Philadelphia. I want first for you both to give a brief introduction of who you are and your connection to the campaign. Then I'm going to ask one of you just to tell me a little bit about what's happening in Philly. So why don't we start with you, Sterling?
All right. My name is Sterling Johnson. I'm an organizer with Philadelphia Housing Action. We focus on housing and harm reduction. Um, I'm, let's see, a PG student. I lived in Philly for the last decade. Family from here for a long time.
And Rasheda, tell us about yourself.
My name is Rasheda Alexander. I am a longtime resident here in Philadelphia. I am a tenant and an organizer here at UC Townhomes.
And Rasheda, why don't you start us off with telling us what's happening in UC Homes? I think some of the stuff that we've seen so far is that there's an owner who's trying to evict folks. But why don't you give us some more details about what's taking place over in the UC Homes?
Basically, what's taking place is the UC Townhomes is, in a prime, area, and they want to gentrify it, like they have done the surrounding area because we are like about 6 blocks away from University of Penn, which everyone may know is like an Ivy League school. Um, Basically, the residents here, the owner decided he wanted to sell the property. He was offered 100 million for the property, and told the residents, that he was choosing to opt out of the HUD contract, which assists residents with 30% of their income. I'm sorry, excuse me. It assists residents, and the residents pay 30% of their income, their gross income. Um, so he gave everyone vouchers through PHA and HUD and told us to find somewhere to live. He did explain to everyone last year that he was choosing to opt out, but everyone here didn't receive their vouchers until about May. And he gave everyone 60 days to move. Um, and that we have just been fighting um, to preserve low income to median income affordable housing for working class citizens and people with disabilities. So that's pretty much what's going on in a nutshell
Mhm.
over here in DC Townhome.
Sterling, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, Rashida said everything that's happening right now. I think just just knowing that this is a long fight. That um, it, the place that where we're talking about is originally called the Black Bottom. Um, Definitely, people have already been displaced by back in the '60s, in the '50s and '60s. They fought then. In the '80s, they fought um, to make this housing available. There was only a lawsuit through activists then that actually created the UC Townhomes. So I always feel like this is our time to fight. Just like people have always fought for space in this city.
Mhm. And you guys have mentioned, and this is happening across the country, particularly in majority Black cities or almost majority Black cities, where Black folks in particular are being chased out because of high rents, increases in property values. The city government has usually been supportive of this, even if they say otherwise publicly. Most city governments have supported this kind of action, and they've basically been in bed with developers over the gentrification of these cities and the chasing out of Black folks. So I'm assuming Philadelphia is similar, but you started, Sterling, a little bit to describe, and Rasheda, you can jump in also. What is the situation in Philadelphia, a city which, from the outside looking in, obviously has been known as a city which has been either majority Black or having a large Black population? What's the situation there when it comes to gentrification and pushing out Black residents?
Yeah. So Philadelphia has some of the largest like middle income Black neighborhoods, um, and also places where there are a lot of low income Black people as well. And that's because people have fought. People have fought in all the um, neighborhoods like Yorktown, if anybody has heard about those, about that, Cops Creek. These are neighborhoods that historically are Black. And in terms of the amount of people leaving Philly, there's about 30,000 less Black residents than there was in 2000, the year 2000, and that's significant. But I will say Philadelphia has been one of the sites where people have fought back the most. We still have many low-income Section 8 properties, LIHTC properties, low-income housing tax credit. It's because people fight here a little harder. I'm not gonna, I respect the people in Chicago and DC and all the other towns, because we are together. But I will say we do have a history of fighting and winning, of having vacant housing, take back property campaigns that have won. So I did just want to say that this is the city. People come to this city and they look to like take advantage and extract things, but they usually find that we got some teeth to us.
Rasheda, you are a resident of UC Housing. So what was your reaction in terms of organizing? Did it come naturally to you to say that we're going to organize against this as opposed to just moving out? So what happened? What was it that got you like triggered to be like, I'm fighting, I'm not moving nowhere yet?
So it did not. Well, most would say that it came naturally. But I was already interested in relocating. So it was no surprise to me because I had already seen what was taking place around us. But when I realized that they were pushing my people out, um, without giving them the resources that they would need to sustain themselves once they left, that it angered me. And I was like, no, they're not going to do this. We have senior citizens here. We have people with disabilities here who can't get out to go find housing. How do you give somebody 60 days to live to find housing with a Section 8 voucher? I work in the homeless community with two different agencies, and I was like, I see people get vouchers every day and they can't use them. So I knew the complications and how complex it was to be out here on low income. A lot of our residents, might not have good credit, which is a factor when you're looking for a home. Whether it's low income or market rent, and it was the lack of respect and integrity for me that really lit my fire to want to fight for the people and advocate for the residents here who are unable to fight for themselves.
And it sounds like the campaign, like, well, tell us where you are at in the campaign, because it sounds like obviously this campaign has received media attention. This campaign has gotten great numbers and is taking some daring actions in terms of challenging the landlord and the city. Tell us where the campaign is at, and how did you guys, like, sometimes people don't want to use militant tactics, let's say. Tell us like how y'all got to that point where y'all were ready to sort of throw down, and where the campaign is at right now.
People, when we have a conversation with people, and we're asked the question like how did it turn into an encampment? To be honest, we were just at the point of anything that we have to do that's necessary. Like, you're going to hear us. That was the people's cry. That was our voice in the encampment, because we had we had emailed, we had corresponded not only with the owner, with the developer who was the potential buyer. We had reached out to our council member, and we were being ignored. And nobody wanted to talk to us, and it was just trying to be swept under the rug. And we were like, we gotta do something. Like, we have to do something. And we was like, the encampment, here it is. It was really reserved for us. It really was. That was not on the top of our to-do list. But we needed to be heard. We needed them to come to the table, and we wanted them to negotiate with us and not just discard us. Like, like we were, like we had no say in the matter. But it's our lives that were being, dismantled. And where we are now is, um, because of the media, because of the fight, for the last 11 months. We have been in some rooms with, some politicians. We have been having conversations around solutions. Um, I'm not sure how much of, I can talk about as far as like for legal reasons, but I can say that the encampment got us to where we needed to be. Because now you can no longer sweep it under the rug. You can't ignore us anymore, and you have to come to the table and have a conversation with us.
Sterling, in terms of your involvement with the campaign, that arc of using again what I'm gonna call militant tactics that people are scared of. Did you see that as something that came easy for the residents, or was that something that took a while to get to? And in terms of the conversations, I know that some things you cannot talk about. But my assumption is the politicians in general, will say nice things in front of you, but we never know what they're doing behind the scenes and stuff like that. So, who you guys have targeted in terms of elected officials to make sure that they themselves don't try to sell out the campaign to the developers?
Yeah. Um, I mean, my experience was from organizing with homeless individuals. We've had encampments used as a strategy. I was a part of the large encampment that was in Philly during the uprising in 2020. So our experience with having a large encampment and what it took to do it was pretty. We felt pretty solid in that. So when it came to what are the actual actions we're going to do, we're going to do home visits, we're going to do office visits, we're going to try to find you wherever you are in the city and try to yell at you to like unnerve you. Those are some basic things, and then it was going to lead up to what we knew was something that had to be done, which was the encampment, which is a constant and continuous 24/7 occupation. And you had to have the people that were going to be a part of it, that were actually going to do it, right? And that was the residents that I don't know. It was really, I will tell you the truth, it's really hard to get organizers to do it, but it's really easy to get like people that are especially like Rasheda. It's really easy. Everyone else seems to get it, but you talk to any organizer that gets paid by an organization and they don't want to do it, So that's just how it goes. But for us, it was pretty easy, and that was the thing and to do. And when it comes to what the people say in your face, they'll all I do is throw up these non-disclosure agreements. They can't, we got told that many times, but while they're doing the non-disclosure agreement, they're texting you as texting one person this and that, texting this other person. It's just all these people. They lie to your face. They lie to the public. They lie constantly. So we know that those are all smoke screens, right? So then, because when it breaks, and they, even when they give you the meeting, they expect you to stop, and we don't stop. We still got plans on all of them. They got their plans, but we got our plans, right? So, and I just know when you go into the meeting, even when you're at the meeting, you say like, well, that happens, right? I wish you had a nice dinner, but that wasn't going to happen until you decide to give us what we want. We're going to continue coming at you. And the only reason that we actually get here is because we have a ground, a legal, a public, and a private, and everything strategy, right? And there are no stones that are going unturned, right? So that's how we do it. And I don't know, I wake up every single morning hot, and I call Rasheda. I'm like, "You ready to go?" Until they sign a document that says that everybody in the townhomes is safe and they don't need to worry or have this fire saying you got to move. Until everyone feels safe. I'm not going to rest. We're not going to rest.
So what is next steps for the campaign, Rasheda? What are the outcomes that you guys are looking for at this stage? Sterling, you obviously can jump into what are the outcomes that you're looking for, and or what are next steps for you to get there in terms of the outcomes you want?
We have already started, communicating and with national level um, nonprofit organizations because we're working to preserve the UC Townhomes at all costs. Right now, the campaign is, we're building, a financial summary to help preserve. Some may, identify it as a land trust um, for the residents here, and also giving those who would like to move because of the stress of everything. A lot of residents, they just don't want to be bothered anymore. We're still giving them the option to relocate if they feel like they want to, but it's not going to be something that's forced. We still have a few more, meetings and a few more things that we have to, work out as far as like legally. But our ultimate goal is to preserve the UC townhomes.
Yeah, I think that there's a few things that are unclear around, you know, what is the owner, how is he going to be wrangled to, let go of that property? There's a price at one time that was, I'm not even going to say the price because that's a fake price, right? So, but we're going to try to figure out something. We live in a pretty hard spot because this is capitalism that's all around us, but like the number one thing is we don't want them to sell to a developer that's going to build a bunch of condos that we're going to do it. So we're definitely in a medium space and a pragmatic space, I will say, just to be honest with everybody, because you have to put together some kind of package that preserves the housing that is there, and that involves talking to some developers.
Mm-hmm. So I want folks to know too, I've dropped it in the link in the chat a couple of times, but the website folks can go to is savetheuctownhomes.com. Obviously, I think you guys are all over social media too, because this campaign has taken on sort of national implications. As we wrap up, is there anything that you want to leave folks with in terms of either how to get involved, how they can support the work that you guys are doing?
Yes, they can, go to our program. It's Save UC Townhomes. They can go on our website. All of our information is there on how they could contact us. We also have, a place where you can sign a petition. We would, like those supporters to sign a petition that supports us and stand with us in solidarity. Um, if there's, anything else that anyone feel like they could offer or they would like to become, a part of us organizing, they can go and reach us at saveuctownhomes at gmail.com. And, we'll respond to them through email and they can leave their contact information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, Sterling.
Yeah, it's just for us, hopefully this is a model for other people, a prototype. We know that there needs to be tenant organizing at every single building. Honestly, all these HUD buildings, every building, regardless of who the owner is, then and I think we are moving towards what I would see as a national tenant opportunity to organize and tenant opportunity to purchase their own buildings. That should be a right across the nation. I think that's where we need to start. This is not. We are a very special situation where there's a very high number, and they're going to turn into luxury condos. But we know that there are a bunch of owners all over the country that no matter they're for-profit or non-profit, they treat the tenants like they're just their wards, and they don't give them respect. And every single person across whether you're in one house or a 50 unit place, you should have a right to purchase that before they sell it to some anybody. I don't care where they're from, right? Should have the opportunity to purchase.
Mm-hmm. Not just purchase, take over. Like the state should seize in New York at one point, and I know that different organizers and activists who did this, folks have taken over buildings that were left dilapidated, where the owners abused the tenants, did things like you guys are talking about, try to take them out. So sometimes we don't need to reward them. We just need to find out legal ways and other ways to take them over.
Exactly.
I think all that. I mean, I'm so happy to have y'all on because what you guys are doing has been held up and should continue to be as a model of resistance, particularly around gentrification, the racism that's involved and who gets targeted to be moved, and again the complicity of city officials and developers in making this happen. And then acting like this is just a force of capitalism, this is just a force of nature, and there's no way we can stop it, prevent it. But I think you guys are showing with some people power, we can put some roadblocks on their plans. So I want to thank y'all for joining us. Again, we put the website up, save the UCTownhomes.com. We appreciate having Sterling and Rasheda with us, and we're going to have you guys on again to give us an update on where you're at with your struggle.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Peace.